The Partridge Family only aired for 4 seasons from 1970 to 1974, but the faces behind those family harmonies went on to live lives filled with fame, heartbreak, shocking headlines, and even quiet reinventions. Here is where all of them eventually ended up. Number 1. Shirley Jones as Shirley Renfrew Partridge. Shirley is like the emotional anchor of the entire film, a gentle widowed mother who drives the family's colorful bus on tour across the United States while keeping her 5 children and their small pop band together. The character was portrayed by Shirley Jones when the series premiered in 1970. She was 36 years old and already a genuine Hollywood star. Throughout the 96 episodes of the series, which aired until 1974, Jones was the center of the story, both acting and contributing vocals to songs such as I Think I Love You, a track that even reached number 1 on the Billboard chart. Interestingly, before becoming a famous television mother, Jones had already built an impressive film career with musical movies such as Oklahoma Carousel, The Music Man, and especially her Academy Award-winning supporting role in Elmer Gantry in 1960. Therefore, the Partridge Family was not a stepping stone but a strategic turn, one that allowed her to reach a younger audience. Behind the scenes, her marriage to actor Jack Cassidy, the father of David Cassidy, who played her son Keith in the show, gradually deteriorated and ended in divorce in 1974, the same year the series concluded. After all that, Shirley Jones continued acting for many decades. She turned 91 years old in 2026, remains very sharp, and is remembered as one of the few artists to have both won an Oscar and had a #1 hit song, and she will always be the mother on the musical bus of 1970s television. Number 2. David Cassidy as Keith Partridge. In the melody-filled world of the Partridge Family, Keith Partridge was always the center of attention, the band's frontman with flowing hair, a guitar in his hands, and a smile that made millions of teenagers in the 1970s swoon. The character was portrayed by David Cassidy when he was about 20 years old, beginning from the first season that aired in 1970, and he appeared in all 96 episodes of the series, which ran until 1974. Before becoming Keith Partridge, Cassidy was just a young actor struggling with guest roles on television, but the show turned him into a global teen idol phenomenon with his real singing voice. Featured in the recordings of the fictional band and songs like I Think I Love You climbing the charts. He was not only a television star, he was a true pop music phenomenon, selling out arenas around the world and creating a frenzy that rivaled the Beatles at the height of their fame. Behind the wave of Cassidy mania, however, his life was far more complicated. Fame came too early and left him struggling with pressure, alcohol, and numerous legal troubles in the years that followed. He was married 3 times and had 2 children, including actress Katie Cassidy. Sadly, Cassidy's final years were overshadowed by illness. In 2017, after publicly revealing that he suffered from dementia, he passed away from multiple organ failure at the age of 67. But for many viewers, Keith Partridge will forever remain the image of a radiant youth, the singer on the family bus who turned a sitcom into an unforgettable musical memory for an entire generation. Number 3. Danny Bonaduce as Danny Partridge. The quick-witted red-haired boy with a mouth as fast as lightning, Danny Partridge was the mischievous engine of the family band in the Partridge Family. In the world of the show, Danny not only played bass guitar, but was often the one who came up with bold plans to get the family onto the stage, creating a humorous energy that audiences would always remember. Danny Bonaduce was only about 11 years old at the time, starting in 1970, and appearing throughout all 96 episodes of the series, which ran until 1974. Before becoming a familiar face of this sitcom, Bonaduce had already been a child actor since the late 1960s, but the Partridge Family was the launching pad that turned him into a teenage television star. Behind the mischievous smile on screen, however, his life took a much more turbulent path in the years after fame. Bonaduce struggled with addiction, legal troubles, and even faced a period when he was nearly bankrupt. Nevertheless, he managed several comebacks, transitioning into work as a radio host, reality television personality, and even trying his hand at professional wrestling. In his personal life, Bonaduce went through several marriages and has 2 children with his second wife, Gretchen Hilmer. Since 2010, he has been married to Amy Railsback. In recent years, Bonaduce's health has also worried fans. In June 2023, he announced that he would need surgery for hydrocephalus after experiencing difficulty walking and maintaining balance. As of 2026, Danny Bonaduce is 66 years old, still fighting, and still refusing to fade away quietly. Number 4. Suzanne Crough as Tracy Partridge. Tracy is the youngest little sister who always holds a tambourine with a freckled face and an innocent smile like a mischievous ray of light among the family band traveling across America. Tracy does not say much, but her innocence and the steady rhythm of her tambourine became an unforgettable image of the show. Suzanne Crough was only 7 years old at the time. Before stepping into this famous sitcom, Suzanne was just a young child actress who had only begun her career with a few television commercials. Therefore, the Partridge Family was almost the peak of her career, the role that permanently attached Suzanne's name to the image of the tambourine girl of American television in the 1970s. But what surprised many people is that after that spotlight, Suzanne almost completely left Hollywood. By 1980, she stopped acting later, opened a bookstore, and then lived a quiet life, even working as a manager at an Office Max store. In real life, Suzanne married William Condrey in 1985 and had 2 daughters. Sadly, she passed away suddenly at her home in Nevada on April 27, 2015, at the age of 52 due to a rare form of heart disease. Although she left the screen very early, Suzanne Crough is still remembered as Little Tracy Partridge, the innocent symbol of one of the most beloved family sitcoms of the 1970s. Number 5. Dave Madden as Reuben Kincaid. Reuben Kincaid is the perpetually grumpy yet devoted manager of the family band, a man constantly swept up in chaotic tour adventures, complaining all the while, yet unable to leave that strange family. With his scowling expression, sarcastic voice, and slightly helpless demeanor in the face of the Partridge kids, Reuben became a distinctive source of humor in the series. When the series began, Dave was 38 years old. Before stepping into this famous sitcom, Madden had already been known in television comedy circles, especially after appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show and the comedy program Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. But it was the role of Reuben Kincaid, the manager, who was both irritable and endearing, that made him a familiar face on American television in the 1970s. Behind the scenes, Madden was known as someone who cared deeply about the young actors. He even once allowed Danny Bonaduce, the boy who played Danny Partridge, to stay at his home when the boy's family encountered difficulties. Outside of acting, he was also passionate about photography and often brought a camera to the set to capture behind-the-scenes moments. Dave Madden married twice and had 2 children. He passed away on January 16, 2014 in Florida at the age of 82, following complications from myelodysplastic syndrome, leaving behind perfectly crafted comedic works that remain wonderfully valuable to this day. Number 6. Brian Forster as Chris Partridge. Chris is the quiet son, sitting behind the drums of the family band, less talkative than his siblings, but always keeping the rhythm for the whole group with his calm demeanor and gentle smile. Brian Forster joined from the 2nd season onward at the age of 11, replacing child actor Jeremy Gelbwaks until the show ended in 1974, appearing in 71 episodes. Born into an artistic family in Los Angeles, Brian practically grew up on film sets. His mother was actress Jennifer Rain, and his stepfather was actor Whit Bissell. What surprises many people is that he is also a multi-generation descendant of the great writer Charles Dickens. Before joining the Partridge Family, Forster had appeared in shows such as The Brady Bunch and in many television commercials, but it was the role of drummer Chris Partridge that defined his name in the memories of audiences. However, like many child actors of the 1970s, Brian did not remain in Hollywood for long. After leaving the screen in the late 1970s, he turned to sports car racing in Northern California and occasionally participated in community theater. As of 2026, Brian Forster is 65 years old and maintains a fairly private life with his wife Lisa, and their children rarely appearing in public. Number 7. Jeremy Gelbwaks as Chris Partridge. Before Brian Forster set foot on the set, there was Jeremy Gelbwaks, the original Chris Partridge, who appeared in 25 episodes during the first season of the show in 1970. In that first season in 1970, Jeremy Gelbwaks was only 9 years old, and he appeared in 25 episodes before leaving the series when Season 2 began. Before joining this famous sitcom, Gelbwaks was almost a new face on American television. The Partridge Family was therefore considered the most notable starting point in his short acting career. However, behind the rather sudden change of actor, the real story was actually very simple. Jeremy's family moved from California to Virginia because of his father's job, which meant he could not continue participating in the series. There was no scandal or major conflict, just a family decision that changed the fate of a television role. After leaving Hollywood, Jeremy almost disappeared from the spotlight. He studied computer science at Columbia University, then worked for many years in business and technology, at one point running a software company. This year, Jeremy Gelbwaks is 64 years old and lives a rather private life. Although his acting career lasted only one season, he is still remembered as the first Chris Partridge, the young drummer who helped launch the journey of the Partridge family on television screens in 1970. Number 8. Ricky Segall as Ricky Stevens. Ricky is the mischievous neighborhood boy who frequently appears around the Partridge family's colorful bus, a clever child who talks quickly and always seems to be looking for a way to squeeze into the band's adventures. Segall appeared in 10 episodes of The Partridge Family. In 1973, while participating in the show, Segall recorded an album titled Ricky Segall and the Segalls, released by Bell Records. Segall began performing at the age of 2. He first acted at the age of 5 in a Tonka toy television commercial. In 1973, he joined the television series The Partridge Family as a regular cast member in its final season. Segall won the role after being discovered by Paul Tannen, who mentioned him to executive producer Bob Claver. In 1974, he was one of the hosts at the 1974 American Music Awards when he was only 6 years old, alongside Donny Osmond, Michael Jackson, and Rodney Allen Rippey. Besides acting, he also participated in voice acting in television programs, including Policewoman Trollkin's Shirt Tales, Richie Rich, and Little House on the Prairie. This year, Ricky Segall is 56 years old, and his career in the entertainment industry continues as a film producer, notably for the police procedural television series NCIS, and his most recent work, the 2015 film Selected. Number 9. Gordon Jump as Albertson. Albertson is one of the occasional supporting characters who appears from time to make the story more complicated, the type of somewhat rigid adult who often unintentionally finds himself in humorous situations when encountering the lively Partridge family. This small but charming role was portrayed by Gordon Jump, who was 38 years old when the series first aired in 1970. Throughout the show's run until 1974, he appeared in about 7 episodes, sometimes showing up in several different guest roles, including the character Albertson. At the time he joined the series, Jump was still a character actor building his name in Hollywood. Before that, he had worked in radio and television in the Midwest, then moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting in the early 1960s. Small roles in programs such as Get Smart Green Acres and Bewitched helped him become a familiar face on American television, and The Partridge Family was one of many sitcoms he appeared in during the early stage of his career. Interestingly, the peak of Gordon Jump's fame came many years later when he played radio station manager Arthur Carlson in the hit sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati. In his personal life, he was married twice and had 4 children. Gordon Jump passed away on September 22, 2003, at the age of 71 due to complications from pulmonary fibrosis. Number 10. Elaine Giftos as Bonnie Kleinschmidt. Bonnie Kleinschmidt is the mischievous and sometimes slightly over-enthusiastic school friend of the Partridge kids. The kind of supporting character who always shows up at just the right moment to stir up the story with curiosity and awkwardly funny situations. With her lively performance and youthful energy, Elaine Giftos gave Bonnie a very distinct color in a sitcom world already filled with strong personalities. When the series aired in 1970, Giftos was 27 years old, and she appeared in several episodes of the series during its early seasons. Before appearing in The Partridge Family, Elaine Giftos had already begun building her career on American television with many guest roles in popular shows of the late 1960s. She quickly became a familiar face in sitcoms and television dramas, later continuing to appear in series such as Bonanza, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, MASH, and Chips. For Giftos, The Partridge Family was not the peak of her career, but it was part of a period when she appeared frequently on American television screens. What few people know is that Elaine Giftos later shifted strongly toward acting coaching. She became an acting coach and instructor, helping train many young actors in Hollywood. Her life therefore turned toward a quieter path, but one that remained closely connected to the arts. Today, Elaine Giftos is 81 years old and continues to work in the field of acting training, leaving behind a substantial legacy of films and television programs that extended into the early 2000s. Number 11. Gary Dubin as Punky Lazaar. Punky Lazaar is the mischievous boy with messy hair and a playful sparkle in his eyes, the kind of child character who often appears to cause trouble or spark humorous situations around the Partridge family. Although only a supporting role, Punky brings a very streetwise energy that creates an interesting contrast with the film's lovable family band image. This character was portrayed by Gary Dubin, who was about 14 years old when the series aired in the early 1970s, and he appeared in 6 episodes of the series. Dubin was not an unfamiliar face on American television at the time. Before appearing on The Partridge Family, he had participated in many popular shows such as The Rat Patrol, My Three Sons, and especially the sitcom The Brady Bunch, where he played a friend of Jan Brady in a memorable episode. Thanks to his sharp features and slightly rebellious demeanor, Dubin was often cast in roles as mischievous or troublemaking boys. He continued acting and doing voice work very actively, with more than 80 films and television programs, and his final role was in the film Rock Barnes, The Emperor in You in 2013. Dubin passed away in 2016 at the age of 57 due to bone cancer, leaving immense sorrow for colleagues and audiences around the world. Number 12. Rosemary DeCamp in the role of Grandma Amanda Renfrew brought to the Partridge family a classic warmth that was very characteristic of old generation Hollywood. The character Grandma Amanda appeared in 4 episodes from 1970 to 1973, always a calm, courteous, and affectionate woman whenever she came to visit the Partridge family. When she stepped onto the set of the series, Rosemary DeCamp was already 59 years old, carrying behind her an acting career that had lasted more than 3 decades. She had worked with many great names of classic Hollywood such as James Cagney, Cary Grant, and Ronald Reagan since the 1940s, a time when cinema was still the center of the entertainment industry. In her personal life, she was married to businessman John Tidball and had 2 children, maintaining a rather private family life, even though her career spanned both film and television. In television production circles, Rosemary was known as an extremely professional actress. She always knew her lines arrived on set on time and rarely caused any trouble. Rosemary DeCamp passed away on February 20th, 2001 at the age of 90, leaving behind one of the most enduring careers rarely seen in classic Hollywood. Number 13. Bruce Kimmel as Richard Whipple was one of the young faces who appeared sporadically in the world of the Partridge family, bringing the familiar image of young men in the teenage stories of the series. He appeared in 5 episodes from 1971 to 1973, at a time when Bruce was about 23 years old and was gradually building his career in the entertainment industry. Although his roles in the series were only supporting characters such as Richard Whipple or Freddie, they came at an important stage when Bruce began to realize that his creative path did not stop at acting. After his time on the show, he gradually shifted toward writing, directing, and producing, becoming particularly successful in theater and music. Bruce Kimmel later built a solid reputation as an album producer and the founder of a record label specializing in restoring classic film soundtracks, contributing to the preservation of many valuable cinematic musical works. His career became proof that a few small roles on television can open the door to a long creative journey behind the scenes. As of 2026, Bruce Kimmel is 78 years old and is still known as an active producer and author in the performing arts community. Number 14. Mitzi Hoag as Miss Farrow was one of the familiar guest faces who brought a sense of authenticity to the world of the Partridge family. The character Miss Farrow appeared in 4 episodes spanning from 1970 to 1974, often remembered as a serious woman who still carried the gentle humor typical of supporting characters in the series. When she joined the show, Mitzi Hoag was about 37 years old and had already become a seasoned television actress after many years of continuous work throughout the 1960s. Before that, she had appeared in many well-known series such as The Andy Griffith Show, My Three Sons, and Room 222, building a reputation as an extremely reliable supporting actress whom casting directors frequently selected. In her personal life, Mitzi married television producer Charles Irving and had a fairly private family life, rarely appearing in the media. After her television career gradually slowed down toward the end of the 20th century, she withdrew from the entertainment industry and lived a quiet life away from the lights of Hollywood. Mitzi Hoag passed away on November 22, 2018 at the age of 86, leaving behind the image of a resilient supporting actress who helped create many memorable moments in classic American television. Number 15. Susan Day as Laurie Partridge. Susan Day as Laurie Partridge was the image of the intelligent, calm eldest sister who always kept everything in the Partridge family from getting out of control. Laurie appeared throughout all 96 episodes of the Partridge Family from 1970 to 1974, and what surprised many people was that Susan Day was only 17 years old when she took on the role, and she had not had any acting experience before that. She was originally a young model who was cast as Laurie almost by chance, but she quickly became one of the most beloved faces of the show among audiences. However, behind the scenes, the rapid rise to fame created enormous pressure. Susan later admitted that she struggled with anorexia during the years she was involved with the program, a silent battle taking place, even as she was becoming a television star. After the show ended, she continued to build a successful career and won a Golden Globe for her role in the legal drama series L.A. Law in 1988. In her personal life, Susan married producer Bernard Sofronsky in 1988 and has one daughter. As of 2026, Susan Day is 73 years old and lives a rather private life, having largely withdrawn from public life after many decades in the entertainment industry. Among the stories just shared, whose journey impressed you the most? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. If there's a movie you'd like us to explore together in the upcoming episodes, don't hesitate to suggest it. And remember to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any new content. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and see you again in the next video. Goodbye.